Ögedei Khan, born Ögedei, was the third son of Genghis Khan and second great Khan of the Mongol Empire, succeeding his father. He continued the expansion of the empire that his father had begun, and was a world figure when the Mongol Empire reached its farthest extent west and south during the Mongol invasions of Europe and East Asia. Like all of Genghis' primary sons, he participated extensively in conquests in China, Iran, and Central Asia. Background: Ögedei was the third son of Genghis Khan and daughter Eugene. He participated in the turbulent events of his father's rise. When he was 17 years old, Genghis Khan experienced the disastrous defeat of Khalakhalid Sands against the army of Jamilkar. Ögedei was heavily wounded and lost on the battlefield. His father's adopted brother and companion Borikula rescued him. Although already married, in 1204 his father gave him Toragena, the wife of a defeated Murkit chief. The addition of such a wife was not uncommon in steppe culture. After Genghis was proclaimed emperor or Khagan in 1206, Mayangans of the Jalaiya, Basud, Soldis, and Konkatan clans were given to him as his appanage. Ögedei's territory occupied the Amil and Hobok rivers. According to his father's wish, Inlagay, the commander of the Jalaiya, became Ögedei's tutor. Ögedei, along with his brothers, campaigned independently for the first time in November 1211 against the Jin dynasty. He was sent to ravage the land south through Hebei and then north through Shanxi in 1213. Ögedei's force drove the Jin garrison out of the Ordos, and he rode to the juncture of the Shi, Chia, Jin, and Song domains. During the Mongol conquest of eastern Persia, Ögedei and Chagatai massacred the residents of Otrar after a 5-month siege in 1219–20 and joined Jochi, who was outside the walls of Urgench. Because Jochi and Chagatai were quarreling over the military strategy, Ögedei was appointed by Genghis Khan to oversee the siege of Urgench. They captured the city in 1221. When the rebellion broke out in southeast Persia and Afghanistan, Ögedei also pacified Ghazni. Ascendancy to Supreme Khan. The Empress Yisui insisted that Genghis Khan designate an heir before the invasion of Khwarezmid Empire in 1219. After the terrible brawl between Jochi and Chagatai, they agreed that Ögedei was to be chosen as heir. Genghis confirmed their decision. Genghis Khan died in 1227, and Jochi had died a year or two earlier. Ögedei's younger brother Tolua held the regency until 1229. Ögedei was elected Supreme Khan in 1229, according to the Kurultai held at Kodoarul on the Kurline River after Genghis' death. Although this was never really in doubt, as it was Genghis' clear wish that he be succeeded by Ögedei. After richly declining 3 times, Ögedei was proclaimed Khagan of the Mongols on 13 September 1229. Chagatai continued to support his younger brother's claim. Genghis Khan saw Ögedei as a courteous and generous character. His charisma is partially credited for his success in keeping the empire on his father's path. Thanks mostly to the organization left behind by Genghis Khan, and to the personal charisma of Ögedei, the affairs of the Mongol Empire remained for the most part stable during his reign. Ögedei was an extremely pragmatic man, though he made some mistakes during his reign. He had no delusions that he was his father's equal as a military commander or organizer, and used the abilities of those he found most capable. World conquests. Expansion in the Middle East. After destroying the Khwarezmian Empire, Genghis Khan was free to move against Western Chia. In 1226, however, Jalal ad-Din Mangburnu, the last of the Khwarezm monarchs, returned to Persia to revive the empire lost by his father, Muhammad Ala al-Din II. The Mongol forces sent against him in 1227 were defeated at Damaghan. Another army that marched against Jalal al-Din scored a Pyrrhic victory in the vicinity of Isfahan but was unable to follow up that success. With Ögedei's consent to launch a campaign, Cholma Khan left Bukhara at the head of 30,000 to 50,000 Mongol soldiers. He occupied Persia and Khorasan, two long-standing bases of Khwarezmian support, crossing the Amu Darya River in 1230 and entering Khorasan without encountering any opposition. Chulmakan passed through quickly. He left a sizable contingent behind under the command of Daya Noyan, who had further instructions to invade West and Afghanistan. Chulmakan and the majority of his army then entered the northern section of Persia known as Mazandaran in the autumn of 1230, thus avoiding the mountainous area south of the Caspian Sea. That region was controlled by the Ismailis. Upon reaching the city of Ray, Chulmakan made his winter camp there and dispatched his armies to pacify the rest of northern Persia. In 1231, he led his army southward and quickly captured the cities of Qum and Hamadan. From there, he sent armies into the regions of Fars and Kerman, whose rulers quickly submitted, preferring to pay tribute to Mongol overlords rather than having their states ravaged. Meanwhile, further east, Daya steadily achieved his goals in capturing Kabul, Ghazni, and Zawilistan. With the Mongols already in control of Persia, Jalal al-Din was isolated in Transcaucasia where he was banished. Thus all of Persia was added to the Mongol Empire. The fall of the Jin dynasty at the end of 1230, responding to the Jin's unexpected defeat of the Mongol general Dokku, the Khagan went south to Shanxi province with Tolua, clearing the area of the Jin forces and taking the city of Fengxiang. After passing the summer in the north, they again campaigned against the Jin in Henan, cutting through territory of South China to assault the Jin's rear. By 1232 the Jin emperor was besieged in his capital of Kaifeng. Ögedei soon departed, leaving the final conquest to his generals. After taking several cities, the Mongols, with the belated assistance of the Song dynasty, destroyed the Jin with the fall of Kaizhou in February 1234. However, a viceroy of the Song murdered a Mongol ambassador, and the Song armies recaptured the former imperial capitals of Kaifeng, Luoyang, and Chang'an, which were now ruled by the Mongols. In addition to the war with the Jin dynasty, Ögedei crushed the eastern Chia founded by Puxun Wanu in 1233, pacifying southern Manchuria. Ögedei subdued the water Tatars in the northern part of the region and suppressed their rebellion in 1237. Conquest of Georgia and Armenia. The Mongols under Chulmakan returned to the Caucasus in 1232. The walls of Ganjik were breached by catapult and battering ram in 1235. The Mongols eventually withdrew after the citizens of Erbil agreed to send a yearly tribute to the court of the Khagan. Chulmakan waited until 1238, when the force of Mongke Khan was also active in the North Caucasus. After subduing Armenia, Chulmakan took Tiflis. In 1238, the Mongols captured Lorhe, whose ruler, Shahanshah, fled with his family before the Mongols arrived, leaving the rich city to its fate. After putting up a spirited defense at Hohenabad, the city's ruler, Hassan Jalal, submitted to the Mongols. Another column then advanced against Gayan, ruled by Prince Avak. The Mongol commander Tokhta ruled out a direct assault and had his men construct a wall around the city, and Avak soon surrendered. By 1240, Chulmakan had completed the conquest of Transcaucasia, forcing the Georgian nobles to surrender. Invasion of Korea. In 1224, a Mongol envoy was killed in obscure circumstances and Korea stopped paying tribute. Ögedei dispatched Tsaritai to subdue Korea and avenge the dead envoy in 1231. Thus, Mongol armies began to invade Korea in order to subdue the kingdom. The Goryeo king temporarily submitted and agreed to accept Mongol overseers. When they withdrew for the summer, however, Choryu moved the capital from Kaesong to Ganghwa Island. Tsaritai was hit with a stray arrow and died as he campaigned against him. Ögedei announced plans for the conquest of the Koreans, the southern Song, the Kipchaks and their European allies, all of whom killed Mongol envoys at the Karalte in Mongolia in 1234. Ögedei appointed Dank commander of the Mongol army and made Bogwon, a defected Korean general, governor of 40 cities with their subjects. When the court of Goryeo sued for peace in 1238, Ögedei demanded that the king of Goryeo appear before him in person. The Goryeo king finally sent his relative young Nongun Sung with 10 noble boys to Mongolia as hostages, temporarily ending the war in 1241. It is said that Ögedei recruited his Kashig with Koreans. Europe. The Mongol Empire expanded westward under the command of Ögedei Khan to subdue the Russian steppe and drive into Europe. Their western conquest included almost all of Russia, Hungary, Poland, Serbia and Bulgaria. During the siege of Kolomna, the Khagan's half-brother Kugan was killed by an arrow. After the conquest of Volga, Bulgaria, Alania, and the Rus principalities, Ögedei's son Gayuk and Chagatai's grandson Buri ridiculed Bachu, and the Mongol camp suffered dissension. The Khagan harshly criticized Gayuk. "You broke the spirit of every man in your army. Do you think that the Russians surrendered because of how mean you were to your own men?" He then sent Gayuk back to continue the conquest of Europe. Gayuk and another of Ögedei's sons, Kadan, attacked Transylvania and Poland, respectively. Ögedei Khan had granted permission to invade the remainder of Europe, all the way to the Great Sea, the Atlantic Ocean. But his death prevented the invasions from continuing west. Mongol forces were moving on Vienna, launching a fierce winter campaign against Austria and Germany in the first wave into Western Europe. When Ögedei died, conflict with the Song China in a series of razzias from 1235 to 1245. The Mongols, commanded by Ögedei's sons, penetrated deep into the Song dynasty and reached Chengdu, Zhangyang and Yangtze River. But they could not succeed in completing their conquest due to climate and number of the Song troops, and Ögedei's son Kochu died in the process. In 1240, Ögedei's other son Kudan dispatched a subsidiary expedition to Tibet. The situation between the two nations worsened when the Song officers murdered Ögedei's envoys headed by Selmus. The Mongol expansion throughout the Asian continent under the leadership of Ögedei helped bring political stability and re-established the Silk Road, the primary trading route between East and West. India. Ögedei appointed Dair commander of Ghazni and Mengetu commander in Khanduz. In winter 1241, the Mongol force invaded the Indus Valley and besieged Lahore, Pakistan. However, Dair died storming the town on the 30th of December 1241, and the Mongols butchered the town before withdrawing from the Delhi Sultanate. Sometime after 1235, another Mongol force invaded Kashmir, stationing a Darfachi there for several years. Soon Kashmir became a Mongolian dependency. Around the same time, a Kashmiri Buddhist master, Otochi, and his brother Namo arrived at the court of Ögedei. Administration. Ögedei began bureaucratization of Mongol administration. 3 cultures constituted his administration: the Christian Eastern Turks, represented by Chinkai, the Akher scribe, and the Kerates; the Islamic cycle, represented by 2 Khwarezmians, Mahmud Yalavach and Masood Beg; the North Chinese Confucian circle, represented by Yelu Chukai, a Khitan, and Nianhe Zhongshan, a Jurchen. Muhammad Yalavach promoted a system in which the government would delegate tax collection to tax farmers who collect payments in silver. Yelu Chukai encouraged Ögedei to institute a traditional Chinese system of government, with taxation in the hands of government agents and payment in a government-issued currency. The Muslim merchants, working with capital supplied by the Mongol aristocrats, loaned at higher interest the silver needed for tax payments. At the same time, the Mongols began circulating paper currency backed by silver reserves. Ögedei abolished the branch departments of state affairs and divided the areas of Mongol-ruled China into 10 routes according to the suggestion of Yelu Chukai. He also divided the empire into Beshbalik and Yanjing administration, while the headquarters in Karakoram directly dealt with Manchuria, Mongolia and Siberia. Late in his reign, Amudaya administration was established. Turkestan was administered by Muhammad Yalovach, while Yeluchukhi administered North China from 1229 to 1240. Ögedei appointed Shigi Kut chief judge in China. In Iran, Ögedei appointed first Chintima, a Karakita, and then Korguz, an Uyghur who proved to be honest administrator. Later, some of Yeluchukhi's duties were transferred to Muhammad Yalovach and taxes were handed over to Abdurrahman, who promised to double the annual payments of silver. The autocore partner merchants lent Ögedei's money at exorbitant rates of interest to the peasants, though Ögedei banned considerably higher rates. Despite it proving profitable, many people fled their homes to avoid the tax collectors and their strong-armed gangs. Ögedei had imperial princes tutored by the Christian scribes Ögedei and the Taoist priest Li Zhichang and built schools and an academy. Ögedei Khan also decreed to issue paper currency backed by silk reserves and founded a department responsible for destroying old notes. Yeluchukhi protested to Ögedei that his large-scale distribution of appanages in Iran, Western and North China, and Khorasan could lead to a disintegration of the empire. Ögedei thus decreed that the Mongol nobles could appoint overseers in the appanages, but the court would appoint other officials and collect taxes. The Khagan proclaimed the Great Yasa as an integral body of precedents, confirming the continuing validity of his father's commands and ordinances, while adding his own. Ögedei codified rules of dress and conduct during the Kurultays. Throughout the empire, in 1234, he created post-road stations with a permanent staff who would supply post-riders' needs. Relay stations were set up every 25 miles and the Yam staff supplied remounts to the envoys and served specified rations. The attached households were exempt from other taxes, but they had to pay a kubchuri tax to supply the goods. Ögedei ordered Chagatai and Batu to control their yams separately. The Khagan prohibited the nobility from issuing paisas and jaliks. Ögedei decreed that within decimal units 1 out of every 100 sheep of the well-off should be levied for the poor of the unit, and that 1 sheep and 1 mare from every herd should be forwarded to form a herd for the imperial table. Karakoram. From 1235 to 38, Ögedei constructed a series of palaces and pavilions at stopping places in his annual nomadic route through central Mongolia. The first palace Waningong was constructed by North Chinese artisans. The emperor urged his relatives build residences nearby and settled the deported craftsmen from China near the site. The construction of the city, Karakoram, was finished in 1235, assigning different quarters to Islamic and North Chinese craftsmen, who competed to win Ögedei's favor. Earthen walls with 4 gates surrounded the city. Attached were private apartments, while in front of stood a giant stone tortoise bearing an engraved pillar, like those that were commonly used in East Asia. There was a castle with doors like the gates of the garden and a series of lakes where many waterfowl gathered. Ögedei erected several houses of worship for his Buddhist, Muslim, Taoist, and Christian followers. In the Chinese ward, there was a Confucian temple where Yeluchukhi used to create or regulate a calendar on the Chinese model. Character. Ögedei was considered to be his father's favorite son, ever since his childhood. As an adult, he was known for his ability to sway doubters in any debate in which he was involved, simply by the force of his personality. He was a physically big, jovial, and very charismatic man, who seemed mostly to be interested in enjoying good times. He was intelligent and steady in character. His charisma was partially credited for his success in keeping the Mongol Empire on the path that his father had set. Ögedei kept peace among his family, criticizing his son and Chagatai's grandson. The sudden death of Toliwa seems to have affected him deeply. According to some sources, Toliwa sacrificed his own life, accepting a poison drink in shamanist ritual in order to save Ögedei, who was suffering from illness. Ögedei fell victim to alcoholism. Chagatai entrusted an official to watch his habit, but Ögedei managed to drink anyway. It is commonly told that he did so by vowing to reduce the number of cups he drank a day, then had cups twice the size created for his personal use. When he died at dawn on the 11th of December 1241, after a late-night drinking bout with Abd-ur-Rahman, the people blamed the sister of Tolui's widow and Abd-ur-Rahman. The Mongol aristocrats recognized, however, that the Khagan's own lack of self-control had killed him. Ögedei was also known to be a humble man, who did not believe himself to be a genius, and who was willing to listen to and use the great generals that his father left him, as well as those he himself found to be most capable. He was the emperor but not a dictator. Like all Mongols at his time, he was raised and educated as a warrior from childhood, and as the son of Genghis Khan, he was a part of his father's plan to establish a world empire. His military experience was notable for his willingness to listen to his generals and adapt to circumstances. He was an extremely pragmatic person, much like his father, and looked at the end rather than the means. His steadiness of character and dependability were the traits that his father most valued, and that gained him the role of successor to his father, despite his two older brothers. Aftermath of Ögedei's death, Ögedei had nominated his grandson Shireman as his heir, but Gayuk eventually succeeded him after the 5-year regency of his widow Torigena Khatun. However, Batu, the Khan of the Golden Horde, nominally accepted Gayuk, who died on the way to confront Batu. It was not until 1255, well into the reign of Mongke Khan, that Batu felt secure enough to again prepare to invade Europe. Fortunately for the Europeans, he died before his plans could be implemented. When Kublai Khan established the Yuan dynasty in 1271, he had Ögedei Khan placed on the official record as Taizong. Children. Ögedei had many khattuns and concubines. Ögedei married first Barakchan and then Torigena. Other wives included Makar and Jashan. He had 7 sons. Gayuk, the third great Khan of the Mongols. Khodan, the first Buddhist Mongol prince. Kotchu, died during the campaign in Song China. Khorramshahr, Kashi, the father of Kaidu. Kadan, Melag. Ancestry. Memorial. Mongolian Airlines named its Boeing 737-800 A. CSG Ögedei Khan.